what's up, America? Donald Trump announces money for active duty members of the military. So Donald Trump had a speech earlier and he announced $1,776 for active duty members of the United States military. Now, he said you don't have to worry about it because he said the checks are already in the mail. Basically saying that, yeah, we've already approved that and it's coming before I even announced it. So there's that. So then Donald Trump said that coming up there's going to be basically a good RX version, which is going to be Trump RX, that'll lower prices by quite a bit. At least that's the goal. Whether that'll happen or not, we'll see. Then Donald Trump hinted at getting rid of Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell and replacing him with someone that'll lower interest rates. That's fantastic. I mean, I would like to end the Fed altogether, but that's fantastic for the time being. And then he brushed over Venezuela, but didn't really talk about much, except we have an oil embargo with them. That was basically Donald Trump's speech saying that gas prices are coming down, and they're going to be working on getting food prices down. Now, whether that'll happen, we'll see. But one thing is for certain, affordability here in the United States is still probably one of the most prolific issues that, I'd say 75% of America is dealing with. So once we get house prices, car prices, food prices, insurance, energy, gasoline, all that down, we can reset and restore America to where it's actually worth doing all this shit.
There's no truth.
Yes, when you take a look at what is going on, the other day, the president gave a speech and a lot of people reacted to that. I did not put out a video. I noticed a lot of videos on social media, people talking about this, but I was more concerned with just a few clips, which I'm about to show you what is going on. Jasmine and Cackling the View, they all had their reactions. Someone asked me, why are you always reacting to these people? If I ignore things like this, you will not know that it's even happening because you don't watch them. So I always try to bring the soundbite so you can see what is going on. Trump put out a speech. There are a lot of things he said. The liberals will always say this was the disastrous speech ever Trump has ever given. That is their main goal, because they are panicking of the midterm, but CNN did not hesitate giving them the bad news.
That's right now.
Yeah, I mean, Democrats in the minds of the American public are lower than the Dead Sea. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look. The net approval rating for Democrats in Congress, you said it, Kate Baldwin, the lowest ever. Look at this. Overall, they are 55 points underwater. Their approval rating is south of 20%. It's even worse when you look at independents. Look at this. Negative 61 points. That means that their approval rating is 61 points lower than their disapproval rating. Quinnipiac has been polling this question for the better part of the 21st century. They have never found Democrats, at least those in Congress, in worse shape than they are right now.
That's independents and overall, but what about Democrats on Democrats?
Yeah, what about Democrats on Democrats? So part of the reason overall is so low is independents are driving it low. But that's not the only reason it's so low. What about Democrats on Democrats? Democrats' net approval rating of congressional Democrats. I want you to keep in mind, they had never rated Democrats negatively until this year. And right now, what are we talking about? We're talking about a net approval rating from Democrats. This is Democrats on Democrats. Their approval rating is actually lower than the disapproval rating, and that is quite the drop from October. I think during the shutdown, there was a bit of a boost for Democrats, right? There was a rallying around the flag effect going on. But Democrats did not like how that shutdown turned out. They have returned against Democrats in Congress. And you mentioned Dan Goldman in that intro. One of the reasons that Dan Goldman is in trouble right now in a potential primary against Brad Ladner is because at this point, the Democratic base is so upset with Democrats. So even if Democrats take back Congress, don't be surprised if Dan Goldman ain't there because of numbers like this one.
And this is quite a shift that you're looking at here. I mean, so this gets to the midterms, of course. What does this do to Democrats' chances of taking back majorities in Congress?
Yeah, you know, we're talking about it. You mentioned it. What is this? 22-6. That's a 28-point decline falling through the floor. But, of course, the question is, can Democrats still take back Congress, even with their ratings as low as this? The answer is yes, but in my mind, it's definitely hurting them. Why do I say that? Because take a look at the generic congressional ballot with a Republican president at this point. Look, Democrats are ahead, but they're only ahead by 4 points. Historically, that is quite weak. At this point in the 2017, 2018 cycle, is more than double that at 10 points. The same back during George W. Bush's second term in office, where you saw, of course, the Democrats were also ahead by 10 points. So we're talking about a lead of less than half what we normally expect. And I think that's why, at this point, there are a lot of Democrats who might be thinking, hey, we can spike that ball in the end zone. But the numbers at this point say, hold on just a minute. Yes, you're on your way to a congressional majority, but it's still a long time. And with numbers like this, considerably weaker than historically speaking, it might be a tougher road to hoe than normally.
Well, especially if you see that change from October.
Yeah, if you see, when you see your base going a 28-point shift, and when you see numbers like this, you see this overall.
A lot can change.
A lot can change. And at this point, you know what? Democrats are hoping that Donald Trump's unpopularity can ride them to a congressional majority. But you know what? When you have numbers like this, hold the phone just a second.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you.
Yes, from this, you can clearly see why Democrats would try by all possible means to always, criticize any good move Trump is putting out there. The other day, he took a decision to give out money to the military. They turned it bribe. That is what Cackling the View actually said. Like, oh, you want to bribe the military. At a certain point, I begin to question myself, like, can these people be real for once? They should at least appreciate Trump when he does something like this. Democrat went off. They were so angry with that. Immediately, Trump put out something good. The criticism was turned in. Look at this issue of FICE that they thought they could use to their advantage, but the situation came out to be something different.
The one thing I'll give him credit on is this bonuses to troops. He's giving them basically $1,700.
Let's see if they get the.
Well,
I want to see
where
the
money coming from. He says tariff revenue. That's what I'm most intrigued to see if that's actually the case. Listen, coming off of the government shutdown,
I got to check that with Professor ChatGPT because I don't believe that.
Well, in the delay that they all had of not, they got back pay, but I mean, people need help. But all Americans need help right now. Yeah. And just a handout isn't the answer. Smart policies are the answer.
Well, what he's doing is he's thinking, if I make sure that the soldiers have what they need, they'll back me in what I want. I'm going to tell you, if he says that people, he always likes to say people have Trump derangement. But I feel like he's got Obama and Biden derangement syndrome.
Yeah. The president is blaming President Biden.
There's no truth. And the American people are done with the con man. I mean, as he stood up today in front of the American people, he sounded like a used car salesman. Like, let me just shout it out. Buy what I'm selling. Yes, this is a lemon. Yes, he is selling nothing but lemons.
The split screen is as follows. Everything was horrible under Biden. He called the country dead a year ago, and now he has made everything better. The polls suggest that the American public do not buy it, including Republicans. Why do you think he is putting forth the message that everything is awesome?
He's going to do that because lying has worked for him in the past. And right now, that is what he's trying to do. He is trying to lie his way through. And the only thing that he cares about is making it through these midterms. He is so nervous. That is why they are cheating and going from state to state to state, trying to redistrict, as you heard the speaker saying.
I believe you've seen these people. Jasmine, on the other hand, she's crazy. I understand. At some point, when I watch this lady, I usually wonder if she is even ready. This is a lady running for her position in the Senate. Look at what she spews every single time. I took a decision not to report videos about this lady again, but I see myself coming back to it every single time. Jasmine, to me, has never been that kind of person that can move a lot of people. Only crazy Democrat would be able to be convinced when this lady talked. Her stepping in to run for Senate is the worst decision that these people could ever imagine, though she believes 100% that she can win. I'm there to observe the end result of that. I want to appreciate people supporting, sharing out the videos. God bless you. Please share the video and check if your notification is on. As of the shorter clips, that is for the YT algorithm.
Our hearts are breaking through all. Put his condolences out.
Democrats think that MAGA's going to break up because of Donald Trump's criticism of Rob.
Can sit at either place. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
You and your husband were friends with Rob and Michele Reiner, and everybody knew that wasn't true.
A dangerous relative as a likely suspect, a tip that led to her brother Nick. Rob Reiner and Nick had a heated argument the night before at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, being back on his own. In one instance, she said,
We should have said nothing.
The United States to take this family tragedy in which the president had made no comment.
When people ought to have.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Absolute horror.